All right, we're looking at factoring by grouping. Factoring by grouping today. All right, now here's what we've got. We want to factor this polynomial completely. All right, well, if you look, there's 4 terms, and man, there's not descending order really as far as one variable, and we got 2 variables actually. There's an x and a y. So we're going to do this by grouping. And the way we do this is the first 2 terms in the polynomial, we'll just put parentheses around right there. And the next 2 terms will do that. But see, now here's the thing. Now there's a minus in front of this term, so that minus will have to stay with this. So we'll put parentheses around this, and we'll just add this little plus in here. These are added together. Okay? And then I just take each one of these binomials now and factor them down. So like, look for my common factor here between these 2 terms. So 3 and 2, well, there's no number that goes into 3 that also goes into 2. If I look at the variables, they both have a y, so I can factor out a y. Okay, and then when I do that, right here I'll have a 3x left over. When I take this y out, that'll be a 3x left over. Then minus, when I take the y out of this, I'll have a 2. So that leaves me a 3x minus 2 binomial factor in there when I factor this y out. Okay. Now in this next term, I look at these 2 and see what I can pull out of it. Now here's the thing. Since there's a minus in front of this one, then I'm going to pull out a minus, a negative number. And I look at 36 and 24. The biggest number that goes into 36 and 24 is 12. Okay, and then the x, and this does not have x, so I cannot pull a variable out. So there's what I'm factoring out of this one. Okay, so negative 36 divided by 12 would be a positive 3, and I've got the x when I pull out the negative 12. And then I got a positive 24 divided by negative 12, which would be a negative 2. And there you go. That's how they factor out. And when you do this, what's in these parentheses here will match. It should match. So what I have is I got y times this, and I have negative 12 times this. So I could take the y and the negative 12, and I can put them together. Because both of those are multiplied to this 3x minus 2. And that's my factor completely right there. Okay. Let's go to this next one. All right, now this one is different in the sense that it has just one variable, whereas the first one had 2 variables. And we're going to do it the same way, factor by grouping. So these first 2, I'll put them together. All right, now we've got a plus here, so that's fine. We'll just put our parentheses around this. Now, if there's a minus here, it has to be included, like we did this last one. This minus had to be included in the parentheses with that term there. But this one's a plus, so we'll just put our groupings like this. So there's our groupings, and then I go through each grouping and find out and pull out the common factor. So like right here, 16 and 24. Okay, 8 goes in both of those, and they both have x squared. So that's 8x squared I can pull out. All right, now, when I pull it out, what do I have? Well, 16 divided by 8 would be 2. This is x to the third. If I divide out x squared, there'd be an x left over. Then I have this minus, and then I'll do 24x squared. Well, 24 divided by 8 would be 3. And then x squared divided out x squared would have no x's left over. So there's what I get when I factor out this common factor from this grouping. Then I go to this grouping, okay, and this is a plus, so I'll bring the plus down, and I look at 14 and 21. What's the biggest number that goes into those? Well, it'll be 7. Okay, and then this has an x, and that doesn't, so I cannot pull out any variable. All right, so when I divide this 7 out, 14 divided by 7 would be 2. I've got this x, I'm not dividing it out, so he stays. Then minus 21 divided by 7 would be 3, and there's no variable there, so there you go. And then look, when I do this grouping, this ends up being the same, which is what happens most times. And I think on all these they'll be like that way. But so I have 8x squared times it, and I have a positive 7 times it. So I can put these two right here together then. 8x squared plus 7 multiplied to 2x minus 3. And there's my factoring right there. Okay. Now, for this next one. Okay, this is kind of like the first one where we have two different variables. We got an x and a y. So again, I'm going to put groupings around this first one. Now this is a minus, which means he's going to have to stay with this 33. And I'll put me a little plus right there. Okay, so I've got this binomial plus that binomial. All right, now I look through this one and find my common factor. So 18 and 24, see, I think 6 goes in, that's the biggest that goes in both of them. And then they both have a y. You see that? They both have a y, so I can put a y out here. So that's what I'm dividing out. All right, now 18 divided by 6 is 3. I've got an x here. I'm not dividing it out. And then the y divides out. Minus 24 divided by 6 is 4. And I've got a y, but I'm dividing it out. So there you go. All right, then over here. All right, since this term's negative, we're going to pull out a negative out of this. And 33 and 44 divides by 11. And then that has an x, but that doesn't, so I cannot pull out a variable. So negative 33 divided by negative 11 is a positive 3. I've got my x coming out. And then I got positive 44 divided by negative 11, which is a negative 4. And there's no variable. And then lo and behold, when I do this, these two right here match, which means I have 6y times this, and I have negative 11 times this. So I can put those two together. 6y minus 11. Put them together, and then I've got the 3x minus 4. And there's my factors. Okay. All right, we've got a few more. Factor this one completely, and here's one again that has two variables. So I'll put these two grouped together, and then since that's a minus, I got to leave it with the 18. I'll put my little plus in there. So it's this one plus this one. All right. Now look through this one here and find out what divides in both of those. Well, 15 and 25, 5 goes in both of those. And they both have a y, so I can pull out a y. Okay, now divide that out. So 15 divided by 5 would be 3. I got an x and a y. Well, the x don't divide out, but the y does. See, y divided by y will go away. Then I got a minus. 25 divided by 5 is 5. And I got the y, but I'm dividing it out, so that's it right there. All right, now in this next one, this first term is negative, so when the first term's negative, it'll be a negative I have to pull out. And I look at 18 and 30, and I think 6 goes into both of those. This has an x, but that one doesn't, so I cannot pull out a variable, this one. All right, so now I divide. Negative 18 divided by negative 6 is a positive 3. I've got the x coming out. And then 30 divided by negative 6 is negative 5. And there we go. And again, lo and behold, these two right here match, which means I have 5y times it, and I have negative 6 times it. So these two can go together. 5y minus 6, both of those, times the 3x minus 5. And there we go. There's my factoring. Okay, a couple more. All right, on this one, all right, there's just one variable. Okay, so I'm going to group these two together. And I got a plus here, so I'll just leave the plus out, and there you go. I got this one plus that one. Okay. So I see what my common factor is here. 48 and 36, that's 12. Both goes into both of those. And these both have an x squared. Okay. So that's what I can factor out here. So when I factor it out, 48 divided by 12 would be a 4. Then I got x to the third. I'm dividing at x squared, so it's going to leave me at x. Then I've got this minus. 36 divided by 12 is 3. And I've got x squared. I'm dividing out x squared, so there you go, 4x minus 3. Okay. Then the next one here, now since this is a plus here, we'll put a plus there. And then because this term here is positive, so 20 and 15, I think 5 goes in both of those. And this has an x, but that doesn't. So there you go. That's what I can pull out of it. So now 20 divided by 5 is 4. I've got an x. I'm not dividing it out. Then I got minus 15 divided by 5, which would be negative 3. And there you go. And then just like we've been talking about, these two are the same, which means I have 12x squared times it. And I've got 5 times it, so I can put those two together. 12x squared plus 5 times the 4x minus 3. Okay. And then one last one here. And this one has just one variable on it. So like I group these two together. And then there's a plus there, so I'm going to leave it in the middle there. And I got this binomial plus that binomial. And I look for my common factors. So in this, 75 and 30, let's see, 5 goes into those. 15 goes into them. 15. And they both have an x squared. Okay. 75 divided by 15 is 5. I've got an x to the third. I'm dividing out x squared, so that leaves me an x still. And then I got minus 30 divided by 15 is 2. And the x squared divides out. There we go. Now when I go to this one, since this is a positive 80, I just bring this plus down, and 80 and 32. 16 goes into both of those. And this has an x and that one doesn't, so that's all I can pull out there. All right, so 80 divided by 16 is 5. I've got the x. And then negative 32 divided by 16 is negative 2. Okay, and then just like every other time, these two are the same. So I have 15x squared times it here. And I've got a positive 16 times it there. So I could put those two together. 15x squared plus 16 together times 5x minus 2. And that's my factoring. Okay, so that's factoring via grouping. Try these on your own. If you need any help, let me know. I'll try to help you all I can. So have a good rest of the day.